Hey AfterBuzzers, thank you so much for tuning into this special edition of our 13 Reasons Why After Show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. As you can see, today we have a very, very special guest, Ajiona Alexus, in the studio. We cannot wait to talk to her, talk all things Sherry, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello again, beautiful AfterBuzzers, and thank you so much for joining us today in an unscheduled time, but a very special edition of our
unscheduled.
Yes, 13 Reasons Why After Show here at AfterBuzzz TV. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. And of course, Ajiona Alexus, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, for those that don't know, where can they find you on social media?
Ajiona Alexus, it's Ajiona, Alexus, Alexus.
Awesome, and this girl's a trooper. She just got off an airplane and came straight out to AfterBuzzz, so we really appreciate it. And of course, my two lovely co-hosts. Introduce yourselves, let us know where we can find you on social media.
Hey guys, I'm Chae Jones. You can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram, and Love Shea Butter on Snapchat, because I have to. We're still 13 Reasons Why. I have to.
Love Shea Butter.
Hey, I'm Becca Brown. Y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
And of course, guys, don't forget to follow AfterBuzzz TV at AfterBuzzz TV on all social media platforms. I know a lot of you are in the future probably watching this show because it's such a bingeable show, and some of you haven't watched it yet. So if it's in a few months and you're watching this now, still comment, rate, review, subscribe, tweet at us. We're still going to keep the conversation going throughout the whole year because we love this show so much. So I just want to give out a shout out to you guys in the future of the internet. So I'm so excited that we get to do this with you today because Sherry is a very complicated character.
Yeah,
She's definitely not, it's not one or the other with her. With a lot of other characters, you're like, good, bad.
Yeah, I think she tricked a lot of people because when she did the whole thing, everybody was like, Sherry? Why Sherry? And then even when we were reading the script, I was like, ooh, people are going to be like, because, you saw her as a sweet girl, the nice girl, and, like, she was the one that was just the good girl, like, taking care of Clay, actually cared, and then she went to, like, hey, can you not listen to my tape? So that was a big table-turning moment for her.
Yeah.
I was going to say, she escalated pretty fast.
I know. She went from the light side to dark side kind of quickly.
So let's talk about you getting the role to begin with. The audition process. Were you always going out for Sherry? Was there someone else you auditioned to be?
My audition process was actually very simple. I just did one self-tape. I was in Atlanta at the time, and I guess they held auditions in LA. And I just sent in a self-tape with my dad. We recorded at the house, and they were like, oh, we love it. And then we were like, do a callback, and I just did a self-tape. So it was just 2 self-tapes.
And then they're like, that's Sherry.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know a lot of the other characters said that they auditioned for some of the, like, Clay, and they rotated between Hannah. But I just got a Sherry audition.
That's awesome.
It's pretty simple.
Was it, do you think, at the beginning of the process that they cast you, or was it one of the characters where everyone else was kind of already established?
I feel like people were probably already established because I know they started shooting before because I wasn't in the pilot episode, or I wasn't filming when they started. And then I actually, when they cast me, they flew me out, and then I was there, and I watched the set some, and then I started filming. So I believe they were already shooting. Yeah,
cool.
Sherry kind of came in later.
Had you read any of the books before? The book before?
I didn't, but actually, the books.
It's morning. It's Monday.
The writer, she actually, I remember when I first went on set, she was like, you shouldn't read it. Just kind of focus on the script because people say it's really different. Yeah, obviously after I read it, they gave us all a copy and stuff. But yeah, they actually recommended me not reading it during the filming and kind of focus on the script.
It's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's more mature.
Yeah, Sherry was Jenny or Jenny.
Yeah, it was
Jennifer
a different. I actually didn't read the book, but I know that your character had a different name and was a little bit different in the book.
And some characters, like in the show, who are prominent characters in the show, weren't even prominent characters in the book or weren't in the book.
Yeah, it changed.
Yeah. So did you guys do any brainstorming, like you and the writers, producers, about kind of shaping your character once you came on, or they already, knew that your character was going to be different and was going to be important?
They actually, I think they already kind of had an outline of things, even though they changed the script a lot, so they can go one way and be like, oh, because at first, I remember, I don't even think they had me confessing at the end, like Sherry coming in, calling the police. I don't think they had that at first. And then I think it just came with scheduling and stuff, and then they kind of came up with the idea of Sherry, like, kind of tying her character together. So I think they already had a basic outline, an idea of what the characters were going to be like, but they kind of changed it throughout. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
Nice.
It's always interesting, right? I'm sure when you're on set, you go, oh, okay, I've prepared.
I know
this
those table reads. Even like with some of the scenes, we would be there, and it would be like we would be at the table reads, and like, oh my god, like with some of the sex scenes and just like the content, it's just like it surprises everybody. And it's like when you're writing it, it's different, but then when you're with a group reading it, it's like it's hard.
Makes it more real. Let's talk about you and Clay.
I know Chae loves that scene.
I do. I was just like, you better have some moves in here. Close that door with your phone.
Oh, the scene when they hook up a little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit?
A lot of it. They were in bed.
A lot of it. Yeah, they definitely hooked up a lot of it.
She said she was jealous. She's jealous of Sherry.
Dylan's hot. Let's let it be said. I think he's hot.
We have a very beautiful cast. Our cast is very girls
attractive
and guys.
cast.
I said that last week too, and I was just like, wow, the casting director has the type. I can just see that.
Beautiful.
I know.
Just
I
beautiful.
see fans and they're like, wow, are all of you this beautiful? Like in person, I was like, yeah, our cast is really. You see our cast and they're really good looking. But me and Clay, that's a very interesting situation because it's like, I feel like it's hard for people to see Sherry and Clay as a thing because of how she kind of turned in a way, even though she really is a good girl. But to know where his heart was with Hannah and for her to pass, and then like it's hard to put a new girl in that situation, you know. So I'm curious to see where they would take that and the reactions of it, you know. Because I feel like even though Sherry and Clay, they definitely have a connection and some kind of chemistry there, is still like that, you know. It's such a sensitive relationship up in there with the things going on.
Okay. Your character, to Tyler, you're like, you've always liked Clay. So was that before Hannah? You just always...
Yeah, even you heard some more lines. I was like, like you said with Tyler, I was like, I've always liked Clay. Like, he's always been my crush. It's just kind of a thing you don't really mention, and then it kind of happened. And then it's like, so happened, the tapes happened, and it's like bad timing. So
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Sherry isn't that different from Hannah in reality. So I think Sherry and Clay could possibly work / be a thing in season 2.
I feel like, or
Now that we know
Sky
what's
might come in
happening.
for
Yeah.
some reason.
I was gonna
Sky
say
is like,
love
Sky's in
triangle.
there. That love triangle will
we
be...
have a love triangle.
It's funny. It seems like every girl, or a lot of them, have this like hidden burning fire for Clay.
Right.
And they never
Except
say
for
anything.
Courtney, of course.
Yeah.
Did you say Courtney?
Yes.
Except for Courtney.
Too soon, okay? Too soon for Courtney.
I'm sorry. It's 2017. Just come out. Be done.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's again like with her issue, each person that are on the tape seem to have their own personal issue that's very topical.
Yeah.
And, you know, specifically, well, okay, so with the Sherry and Clay of it all, though, it's just so funny because when we meet you, you seem so nice, and Clay knows that all of these people are involved in the tapes. He pretty much knows who's involved, but he's listening to them very slowly and wants someone to help him.
Right.
And that ends up being Tony, of course. But with you, you know, you seem so nice, and it seemed as though he really wanted to try for you to kind of like be on his team and help him get through this. And at first I thought you were being so nice to him because you didn't want him to move forward. So it did seem at the beginning like your motivations were twofold because you liked him, but you also wanted to save your ass.
Right.
I mean, I didn't really see the whole bad motivation thing at first in that episode at all. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think Sherry, her motivation wasn't so bad because even she didn't have to say anything. She didn't have to admit anything personally.
Yeah.
So in that case, I feel like she did want Clay to be on her side, but she understands. Like at this point, me telling you, like we're probably not gonna go farther until you at least finish the tapes, and your next step's gonna be this, that, and the other.
I think the timing was really bad for Sherry.
Yeah.
But
timing's everything too, but as we learn, everybody has bad timing.
Oh, it's it would have been another life, you know, bad timing. I'm like, okay.
at the same time, though,
Sorry, I'm talking about something else.
She goes into her personal life like, gosh.
But it's true, even in this show, it's very specific, like, bad timing.
Yeah.
Should have spoken up sooner.
Yeah.
at the same time, respect though for her for speaking up.
Yes, and it, you know, when that happened in the show at the end, when, you know, you came forward, I almost, like, skipped over it in my mind, and it took a second watching of it to be like, oh, Sherry, Sherry actually did something right, and it's just hard because we didn't see you do it.
That's
we just heard
interesting.
you do it.
Yeah.
So it didn't stick in my mind as much for some reason.
I think that's what a lot of people, you know? I think a lot of people kind of skip over that, which is sad because it's like people
it is your
recognize
redemption.
you for your mistakes, but then not for what you do. So it's just all like really a lot of lessons to be learned.
I noticed it. I was the only one apparently.
Oh, really?
Well, I noticed it, of course, but I forgot about it at the end because so much other stuff happened, and I didn't have that visual of you standing in front of the police station.
Well, because she went to the stop sign and she was just crying. I feel like at that point she's like, "Yeah, I'm really about to take that step forward. I did everything I need to do." Because like that, her choice of not going to Monet's and joining in, for me that was Sherry's turning point.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, go ahead, Becca.
It's also why I think she's a lot like Hannah, because I feel like she's more mature than anyone else in the high school.
Right. Well, let's talk about Sherry and Hannah. That their scenes together, they're so relatable. Because high school you do stupid things, and you're still a kid. You need to remember, no matter how mature you say a high schooler is, they're still kids.
Yeah.
And they aren't thinking exactly. So I mean, when you shot that party scene and there was all that stuff going on, you know, what were your personal motivations when you're doing all, like, what did you have to think about going into this? You know, I know you obviously would say, oh, no, I wouldn't have done that. I think most people would say, I wouldn't have done that, right? But how did you kind of prep yourself to justify what you did?
I definitely feel like I had to, like, first off, just put in my position. So, like, you're at a party, so how many drinks did you have? Like, mentally, like, your mental state, like, after you have some drinks, you kind of think differently, you act differently. So I kind of put all of those things in perspective and, like, just thinking about everything. It's like, I was just a party moment, you're just here to gossip. And then it's like, almost not even preparing for the scene because, like, the stop sign happened. Like, you're not ready for that. So it's kind of just being in the moment and letting that scene happen as it went.
In like a state of shock almost.
Yeah, because it's like
mode.
Yeah, because it was a shock for Sherry. Like, obviously she was just partying, like just heading home, like talking with the girl, like having fun, and then that happened. So I felt like in that moment in time with the stop sign, it was more of a just be shocked. Like, what would you do? Like, really, you know, we're in the scene, we're hitting the stop sign. What are you gonna do? You know, so just kind of let that moment take you as real as possible.
Yeah.
Or, like, shock combined with fear, I feel like, is the reason, like, she drove off.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing about that scene that I was mad about is that she drove off and left Hannah
Yeah,
behind.
that was a little shady. That was really shady.
When
She didn't even hesitate. She was just like, come on. It's
Yeah.
like,
You're like
don't
not
leave
even on
this girl here in the middle of the night.
It's like Sharon Clueless when she's at the liquor store and Elton, he's like,
leaves
get
her.
in the car, and she's like, no, and he goes, okay, and she's like,
Bye.
it's like just
The one that's down the street, by the way.
I know, I always drive by that, you know, the big clown liquor store that's in, it's funny, it's right down
I guess
the
she was
street.
nervous too to see like someone driving by and seeing that, and it's just like so many things. You're like just trying to get out of that situation.
But then looking back to, you know, you think, okay, you could have both gotten in the car and you could have called 911 anonymously as soon as possible. That still might not have stopped what happened.
right.
And I don't know what could have really stopped what happened because they're just gonna stand there and like wave their hands, you know, stop.
Yeah.
Like, this is a stop sign. I think that wouldn't have really worked either, and it just would have kind of gotten them in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, and you
So
never
it's just-
know what's going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't know what would happen.
No.
Yeah.
And it's also important with these moments because Sherry didn't know what had just happened to Hannah. And we are already, as viewers, on the edge of our seats and upset about what we just saw go down with, you know, Jessica and Bryce, and that Hannah watched the whole thing. And then she also had the whole thing, you know, with Clay. Dylan Clay. Today I called her Sherry. I was just like, so Sherry. So I'm just like getting them all mixed
Get
up.
the characters, yeah.
But when you drove her home, she seemed drunk, she seemed upset, but you had no idea.
Right.
And I'm sure if you would have known, you wouldn't have left her on the side of the
Obviously,
street.
yeah.
I'd hope.
I hope too.
I don't think Sherry would do. I feel like Sherry actually has a good heart, and she likes to help people and wants to do the right thing because, you know, she made the call at the end. But it was just like, I guess just in the moment, you know, like you said, you don't know what someone else is going through. You're just kind of thinking about yourself in the moment. And obviously Sherry, she regrets it a lot. I would say out of most characters, she's the one who kind of felt the most remorse for her actions and like really felt guilty for it. So
And figured it out quicker than Justin.
Or Alex's way of dealing with things.
Yeah.
Well, we're still unclear.
But that's interesting what you
clear.
say. What you said too. It's like, what are we gonna do if we were to stay, like, get in more trouble and wave your hand?
Yeah.
It's like, but you need to do the right thing, and it's like, but you have been drinking, and it's just kind of
and it's taking a risk.
underage drinking.
Yeah,
drunk.
underage drinking and all of that. And you know, the thing is that it did end up it caused a death. And I mean, which did you see it that way? That like what you guys did essentially
yeah, for
caused
sure.
a death.
Think, yeah, that's something that definitely sticks with Sherry too. You know, like you can try and make yourself feel better and be like, oh well, you know, maybe it wouldn't have happened, maybe, you know, but it's like you could have possibly had something to do with it, and I think that'll always stick in her heart. Like, if not, then you're just a heartless person. If you're just like, oh, that wasn't me. He was just probably drunk. You know?
It's so easy to blame someone because they're drunk and it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
And I think it's it kind of sucks that I think that's what you did with Jeff, but it probably was the only way that you could like mentally survive and recover from that.
Yeah.
Just be like, well, that wasn't my fault. He was drunk.
Yeah.
Get over the guilt, kind of, but not really, probably.
Right, because, you know, she's still helping out with the grandparents. She's going there on a daily basis.
But it's also, you know, what about Jeff's family? You know, the way Clay...
Oh my god, I loved that scene.
Yeah, that scene was so emotional. And, you know, Clay didn't rat you out, but it's also, again, like, how would that have gone down? If you would have gone and said something, they would have said, how do you know this?
Right.
You know, and it's kind of just digging yourself into this hole, and you're this girl that has a really bright future ahead of you. And you're not some, like, person that doesn't want to go to college and is just a bum that can take the blame.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, it's really difficult. And what happens after between Hannah and Sherry, it's just, it sucks. It seems like they could have been friends.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's just so many could-haves with Hannah.
There's so many could-haves with the show in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, when you were filming, was there a specific scene that you shot specifically with Hannah that was really emotional or hard to do, or something that you're kind of gonna put it in your book of memories, you know, of your acting career?
Yeah, with Hannah, let me see.
I'm sure she's amazing. She's such a fantastic
Our
actress.
entire cast is really talented. We all have, like, they're really, really good. It's so fun to work with all the directors, writers, actors, everyone. I'm trying to think which one was, like, a really emotional scene I had with Hannah. I feel like we didn't have anything besides the dramatic with that. That was kind of...
And it's one to, and even the next day or that Monday in school, in the hallway, that was rough. And that's when your character took a real turn for the worse in our eyes. Yeah,
I feel like me and Hannah's relationship, I was really avoiding her. We were just kind of, after that whole situation happened. Because before then, I was helping her look for $1 Valentine's. Like, we only had happy moments, you know, just kind of doing little girly stuff then. It wasn't anything, like tension-wise. And so... I definitely feel like after it just starts to be like, you see Hannah, you turn the other way. Like, when you saw her coming up to me after the wall, it's just kind of like in the hallway, just kind of turn away. So I feel like the whole relationship was just kind of like...
Yeah, it was...
And then for that to happen, it's even more like...
And, you know, what sucks about the whole thing is that each person that has a tape, essentially, there is a moment where they turn away from Hannah because they're embarrassed. They're scared. And she just needed, like, one person to not turn away from her.
I know.
Which, I mean, but Robert at the very, very end... The librarian?
Yeah.
But it was too late at that point.
Yeah.
That was a...
It was like, she was like, I've already made my decision at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, you just ordered food and you're getting Chinese and someone's like, oh, would you like some sushi? Yeah, no thanks, sorry.
Yes. I would say yes.
It was also hard too, because a lot of people, she didn't open up to many people either, so it was hard for people to, like, kind of reach out and really help her. As for with Mr. Porter, that's a different situation.
What are your opinions?
I want to rant, but continue.
Yeah, we'll talk, let's talk a little bit about that, because I feel like we've had guests, and it's been hard to talk as much about Mr. Porter as I think we've wanted to, but he's a very important part, so...
Only because I didn't binge watch.
I
didn't binge watch for 6 weeks, so I did it every 2 weeks.
Isn't that impressive?
I got to 13, I was like, how did I do that? I don't even know how I did it.
Speaking of the Hannah not opening up thing, we were talking about that on this past Friday and saying how people, when you ask them, they'll say, like, yeah, I'm fine. If you ask, how are you? Even if they're not fine, and that's Hannah.
Yeah, and Sherry's one of those people too. I think that always wants to. Hi, how are you? I'm so nice. I'm Sherry, but she doesn't really care how you are. It's not in a mean way, but that's just what a lot of people do, especially young kids when you're trying to put on a persona.
Yeah, I feel like we all had on a mask. Like you saw everyone in their homes, in their personal room, just breaking down. You know, and I think that's just how the world is in general. You don't go out like, oh my dog, like you go like, hey, like you get yourself together and you go on with it.
It's like Instagram and social media. It's like you post what you want people to see.
Yeah. And speaking of, I think it's the 13 Reasons Why official maybe Instagram page, or I'm not sure. I think it's an Instagram page, but they post videos.
They're doing
on
so
stories.
It switches. I know what you're talking about.
It's really, really cool. Actually.
Yeah, they're doing so good with that.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is of course the perfect show to do that for, given the topic. But back to Mr. Porter, like, what was your opinion about this whole situation? Did you really find him at fault the most, or did you feel for him?
No, when I watched the show, he definitely frustrated me. I was like, you know, especially with him being an adult, him being a counselor, like, he definitely didn't do his job, in my opinion. And I think it was very, very frustrating to watch the show. And I think also he was in such a bad position because you watched all the things that build up to that moment, and, like, her last hope was him, you know, and it's like he put the icing and the sprinkles on the cake. So it was like... And for him to just be kind of like, it wasn't like I want to help you, or like wasn't like making her feel like she would be protected, and he was like, well, I can't promise this, you know, you gotta this is gonna happen. He didn't make her feel good about the situation.
His whole views are more realistic in the sense of the deliverance of what he was saying, and I think I was super pissed because I'm just like, she told you she don't care about life anymore. She said
she gave you all the signs.
She gave all the signs that I was assaulted. Things you never say to a girl, move on. Those are two things you never want to say. Just in general, especially as an adult, I feel like you could have worded it better, in a better way that shows you supported her, instead of making her feel like she was a victim for a third time.
Yeah.
And I feel like definitely as his position at a high school with kids. And he didn't...
The thing is, and people are going to probably get mad at me for saying this, and it's not...
Don't get mad at Sam, people.
It's not exactly, like, correct, but I just...
frustrated with Sam.
I couldn't help but think that a woman... Like, this is a woman's job. Like, if Mr. Porter were Mrs. Porter, there are some women that are victim blamers, whatever, but more generally, women understand rape, sexual assault, that kind of thing on a level that men don't, and men really can't.
I'm sure it's definitely different, for sure.
Yeah, so, and I just kept on thinking, if this was a woman, I think things would have played out differently.
Well, that's what she said, like, episode 2 or 3 about the lady who left, if you would have stayed, it could have changed everything, but she had to leave, so.
Yeah, I mean, I did... That's just such a big job, and to have all of these kids' lives and livelihoods
in your hands
is, and I'm sure
scary.
He's underpaid. Like it's very scary, and especially in that last part when the principal came in and just looked at him and was like, "Alex
shot himself in the
head. He's in critical condition," and just like he kind of looked at him like, "You did it again. Like this is your fault," which. There's just no way, and kids don't like to be smothered, and there's a medium that you have to find between letting them do what they want and smothering them.
I'm very curious to see in second season how they go into the personal lives of other people and different point of views.
Me too.
To see what's going on in his household now, or during that whole situation, what was he going through? Because right now we only saw Hannah's perspective, and it's like you never even know. Maybe even Mr. Porter was thinking about suicide, or maybe someone else. You know what I mean? Someone could have probably been doing the same things Hannah were doing, but you just don't know.
Yeah, it almost at the end it scared me. I felt like suicide was contagious.
I'm interested.
See, people say that a lot, which I think is interesting.
It's a weird thing to say. I know.
And I can understand why people think suicide can be contagious, but it's also like things are just always bubbling under the surface for everybody, whether they acknowledge it or not.
Going on with everyone.
And so if somebody does it, they're just like, well, they took this way out. Maybe now I can too. Especially because Alex, I think he was building to that anyway from like the first episode in the pool. Like he was building to that type of level. He was kind of done at the same time with everybody.
Yeah,
especially after the parking lot.
Oh, he got
what happened in the parking lot. That was
a beating.
Brutal.
Well, and it was like a lot of times he was just walking into fire and he knew it and didn't seem to didn't seem to care.
I think he's
anymore.
such a gem, though.
I want
Alex
character.
and Jessica to get together for season 2. I want to see that
Alex
in a like a different way for them to get together, and now they're better understanding of each other.
I feel like a lot of people really love.
I could see it.
See, I
love Justin too. I think Justin just has a lot of things he needs to work on by himself before he tries to win back Jessica, if she even lets him win her back. But he definitely has a lot of inner stuff he needs to work out before he tries to be in another relationship regardless.
Same with Jessica, I think.
Well, yeah, she definitely has to work through her own stuff now.
Well, I want to talk about a little bit about Jessica and Sherry, because we don't get a ton of them in the season, but they do establish several times that, like, they're on the cheerleading squad together. They are friends, and first of all, like, the cast is a lot of guys.
Right.
And there's only...
a lot of guys.
Yeah, there's only a few girls here and there, but I feel like Jessica and Sherry did have some kind of, like, closer relationship than we really know. Did I, like, just pick up on something that wasn't there, or is that something that was talked about, or maybe there were scenes that were shot you guys didn't put in, or...
No, I feel like Jessica, I feel like they're going to explore more, like I said, just with the relationships, and they're going to open up more just with the characters and how they actually relate to one another. But I feel like me and Jessica, we were good friends. You know, I wouldn't say best friends, but it's like we're on the cheer squad. That's like something we have in common. But as far as her drinking outside of school and her party habits, it's very different from Sherry. So I feel like Sherry separates herself in that aspect, but she still, like, looks out for Jessica. Like, if she's late to rehearsal, she's like, yeah, she had to look out for her brother, you know, kind of cover up for her, just because she's that type of friend. But I definitely feel like they have a lot to explore with the Jessica and Sherry situation.
I also feel like season 2, Jessica's gonna need people around her, so she's gonna go to anyone who was also friends, acquaintances, etc. with Hannah.
Yeah.
And get help from
outside of the guys.
Yeah.
Because she spends a lot of time
with the guys. Yeah.
And, you know, those girls, like, I have plenty of guy friends, but those specific girls that really don't have any girlfriends, and they just surround themselves by guys, you know, to me it kind of means a couple different things, but I think it's important for women to support each other. Yeah. And I think that Jessica really needs that, and even Hannah says in the tapes that is a way that she felt like she failed Jessica. Yeah. Was not coming forward and, like, being that person that she needed, even though Jessica probably would have shut her down.
They failed each other.
Yeah. It was more of a mutual feel.
Oh, I mean, I think the way that Jessica treated Hannah, like, I so understood, you know, the three of them, Hannah, Alex, and Jessica, they were all best friends at the beginning, you know. It's like when you go to college freshman year at orientation and you meet kids and you're like, oh my god, we're gonna be best friends. And then college starts and you're like,
about 2 weeks
we don't have any classes together.
Yeah, like, they don't want to be my friends. And it's a bummer. And then especially if you see those people who you teamed up with at the beginning, like, they're
together.
Yeah. That, like,
stuff.
I got that so much too, because I'm the type, I'm always in a trio of friends for some reason. It's the worst. Like,
bad idea.
3 friends is, you know, in one group is always a bad idea, and so someone always gets pushed out. And how Hannah got pushed out, like, I just felt for that so much, and it pissed me off at both Alex and Jessica, but Alex later, you know, says how much she regrets that, but Jessica seems oblivious that, like, that must have really hurt. Yeah. To be ostracized that way.
And just getting slapped.
And getting slapped?
Yeah. When she slapped
Oh, that was... I was like...
Again, you get hit. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I think I understand they're in high school. I also think it depends on what high school you went to, because we don't play them games where I'm from.
No, I mean, Jessica would have gotten in a lot of trouble, I think, really.
Probably, yeah.
Thank you. Somebody agrees with me. Like, when I said that first time.
That was really random.
I was just like, nope.
No, yeah, and it's nice. Like, Hannah really didn't ever get closure or an apology for that. She kind of just moved forward and was like, okay.
Or I think she, even when she did apologize, it was just like, sorry.
She's like, she's a drunk. It's a drunk apology.
Yeah, she's like, you know, I thought you were, like, sleeping with my boyfriend, so. Still no excuse. Again, it's like women blaming other women when really...
We need the guy. And I think that's something we
stick together.
We as women, we definitely need to work on. Like, don't go for the woman, especially when most times it's not her fault. Go for your man.
Yeah,
plain and simple.
It's easy. I think that every girl has maybe done that. You know, if your boyfriend, you don't go for them necessarily, but you have a lot of maybe unnecessary anger towards a woman that, you know, you were dumped for or
Can I
whatever.
say I'd never done that then? That's never been my thing.
It's
Good.
because
Good for
girls
you.
overthink.
Yeah.
We overthink as women.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's really
I've
important.
heard of a
just-
lot of situations.
Yeah,
like that, though.
it's
like
important
you're
to
getting
stand by each other.
You don't even take it out on him. You more so look at just her, the opposite opponent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just like if
Take
you
your
really look
claim.
at the situation, it's the guy. You know?
Exactly, when that's not the problem at the end of
Yeah.
the day. But like I said, I really am looking forward to seeing Sherry and Jessica's relationship because I just think these are two girls that really need each other
Yeah.
right now. And Jessica, this whole thing, it's going to be very rough moving forward because I think Jessica's going to be the one to kind of have to lead this thing against Bryce because she is the one that was raped that's
And
alive.
she's still alive, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot on her hands. And now that Sherry has come forward with what she's done, I mean, what kind of repercussions are you thinking are going to be there for you?
It can go so many ways. I don't know. It's scary and frightening. I'm sure Sherry's in a very uncomfortable state right now because it's like so many things can happen and it can just go so many ways. But then it's also like what everyone else is doing. So it's like, well, they just kind of brush that off too and then look at other situations. It's just, it's just so much drama. Season 2 has a lot in store.
I was gonna say with the Bryce situation, I feel like it's just gonna be like, oh, okay, well, you didn't do what Bryce did,
Yeah.
Well,
type thing.
yeah. I mean, what he did was not
Yeah,
even
not-
close
yeah.
to what any of
Shouldn't
the
be
other
brushed
kids
over.
did. And even though Sherry kind of killed somebody, she wasn't purposeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to get a lot of evidence and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's going to have to be a lot of court cases.
I feel
or
like the
however they
least you
handle
could
that.
get is community service.
Yeah.
The worst, maybe probation, involuntary manslaughter. That's the worst. Like, that's only two things I could technically...
Yeah, because it's not intentional.
Because
It's
not
like
intentional, it's involuntary.
stupid mistake.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they can't give you a blood alcohol test at this point,
Yeah.
obviously. So you might have, in a way, saved your butt a little bit
Yeah.
just because there is no way of knowing, and you can just say you were
Yeah.
scared. But yeah, like
And
I
there was
said,
still alcohol in his car.
right.
Yeah, but like, he went to the store. We went over this.
But still.
She was stay on that. I was like, he went to the store, and that's why the alcohol was there. He was not drunk.
Yeah, but they don't... how do they prove it?
I mean, the thing is,
With
is
security
that
cameras, maybe? I don't know.
I think I
Because he
said
told
this.
Clay he was doing... He told you he was doing a beer run.
Huh?
Because he needed you to move your car because
Yeah.
he was doing a beer run.
Yeah, and I mean, isn't it crazy those moments you think about in life that like that was you had a quick moment with Jeff and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'll move my car. Like that's the last time you ever talked to him,
Yeah.
and what ended up happening just snowballed into
And led to everything.
yeah, and it's just that quick moment. You don't think about it. Okay, bye, see ya. Like,
Even with Clay not getting in the car, you didn't really think about it. It's just like, nah, I'm gonna walk. And then it's like, that's the
Clay's
last moment
moment
you had of him.
Oh,
yeah, and
was
and Clay could have been the
Yeah.
one to... Or
And
someone to be killed.
And
Yeah.
your character specifically, I think, is one of the most important because what you did it was a cause and effect.
It was.
Yeah, in so many other ways. Is there anything that you want to or wish that like you could have explored with Sherry's character that the audience could see?
Definitely more of her personal life at home, because I feel like you never really feel sorry for someone or you can't really relate to them unless you know their personal life, just like with Hannah, you saw all aspects of her life from home to school to working at her, you saw parts of their life. So definitely just exploring with her personal life, like outside of school, even with her family, other things that's going on, so you can relate to her on another level, You can't really relate to someone if you don't know much about them.
That is
That's true.
I was gonna say, so since Sherry she listened to all the tapes. After listening to him, you as Sherry, who do you think does not deserve to be on the tape?
Ooh.
Besides Clay, probably.
Well,
right?
yeah, besides Clay, obviously.
Because Hannah even says Clay doesn't deserve to be on the tape.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, each person, right, has their own.
It's so hard to be like,
Alright.
oh, you don't need to be on the tape.
Yeah, maybe
but-
the one that had the least culpability.
Zach. For me, it was
Zach.
Zach and Jessica. After
Oh,
finding out
yeah, I
Jessica,
forgot
like,
about that, the
Zach and
Zach.
Jessica are the only two people I think do not deserve to be on the tape.
I think Jessica does, but I think Zach, that was pushing
Zach,
it a little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, Zach. I forgot all about his tape. See, that was so subtle. You didn't even think about it because it's all the other things going on. Because what did she say?
that he was stealing her compliments.
Oh yeah,
because she said she wouldn't go out with him because she just had that terrible experience with Marcus, who she thought Zach was just another Marcus because they were friends. So yeah,
it's basically her fault, the thing with Zach.
Yeah, but again, bad timing. She literally was just humiliated.
And then he is always with that clique, so she's probably always thinking he's up to no good too.
Yeah, so. I mean, you are who you surround yourself with, and at least that's what
even
people
if you
think
don't
of
act
you.
like that too.
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk about some of the relationships on set in real life. Like, were you guys all like friends? Did you have a lot of fun together? I know this is obviously a very heavy show, but was there any fun to be had behind the scenes?
Oh yeah, for sure. We were actually a really, really close friends and set on and off camera. Even like right now we have a group chat and it's always like texting like has nothing to do with the show. Simply, guys, you want to have a party? Guys, let's go see a movie. Let's go do this, that. Who's open? So
who are you closest with that you like see the most? Not that you like the most, but like who do you see the most on a regular basis?
It's so weird because I feel like whenever I'm hanging out, I never really. It's just randomly I've hung out. I feel like I talk to Steven a lot. Me and Steven, we text a lot. But then at the same time, I talk to, I want to call her Alicia. Alicia. Me and Catherine will do things. It's just so weird because it's like we all just kind of have, and then you have moments where you're not even talking to anybody. But then it's like, I don't know. So I feel like I'm really close with everybody, honestly. Kind of on an equal level.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
And social media is a way that, like, even when you're not, like, texting, you're like, hey, they just posted on social media. Now I'm going to text them.
Like Tommy Ross. I feel like we're all just...
Yeah, I know. I feel like I know you guys because I'm following you all on social media and seeing, like, stupid things that you guys are posting. And I'm like, oh, hey, they're my friends.
I can say the person who makes me laugh the most is Justin. Justin Fernandez. He is hilarious.
He's so different from Bryce.
Oh, yeah, he's
Everyone
so
was
sweet.
saying that throughout the after shows.
Comments, like they're just like, oh, Justin's so cool.
It's so weird
like
to
Bryce.
have people watch that show, even though I guess they're young and just kind of naive too. But to watch a show about bullying and then go on someone's social media page and bully them, that's kind of like
people. I didn't even think about that, but of course people are doing that. You know,
they can't separate a character from a actual person, which is.
But
weird,
it's just some of the comments they say is kind of like, what did you learn from watching this show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway?
And as far as the message that this show has brought and the controversy that's come along with it, what are your thoughts on that? What do you have to say to people that say that it glamorizes suicide and it shouldn't be watched by kids? Because, I mean, I know my personal opinions that I think it's very important for high school kids to watch this. What do you think, and how have you dealt with backlash, if any?
I feel like the content is very sensitive, and I've never been in a situation of suicidal anything, so I can't say if it's harmful to people or not, because if you're in a situation, it's going to be different for you. But I definitely think it's important for them to shed light on the entire matter and situation, because like with Hannah, it's like you don't know, they didn't have anyone to open up to, and I'm sure a lot of people out there feel like that. So I mean, you can look at it one way or you can look at it this way, and I feel like the best way to look at it is in a positive light and see that it's more of a call for help, and like it kind of makes you feel, I would think, more like, okay, I'm not the only one, you're not the only one feeling like this. Like even the small things like a note, it's like that hurts people, and some people may think like, oh, I'm just being extra, I'm not going to say anything about it, but it's like the small things build up to people, and I think it's very important for people to watch. And I think it should be, you know what the show is going to be about, so you should decide for yourself whether to watch it or not. But I think it's a great show, and I think it's great content, and I think it's very important in today's society to be, because it's so much on social media now. It's like, who are you? You know what I mean? It's just
everything's social media.
It's nothing. That's just today's society. So I don't think there's just too much about it. I think it's necessary.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been watching movies, TV shows about murder, serial killers, and everyone watches it and is so entertained. And I mean, like, people getting their heads chopped off, right? And no one really says anything about, like, that stuff. But when it comes to something that's so visceral, I guess. Real, sensitive, because there's people that have had those thoughts and don't know what to do with them. So, I don't know. I literally went out to dinner with a girlfriend last night, and we talked for an hour about this show and how important it was to us and how stuff that we went through in high school and that I'll still think about, and people are like, I can't believe you still think about that. That's so stupid. But this show made me that, like, that's okay, and there's people out there that are going through the same thing.
Yeah, and it's not like we just did a show and we're just like, all right, guys, peace, hope you like it. It's like we have like websites. We're actually like call for help. So, like, we go through our DMs if we see someone talking to us about it. I feel like they're more comfortable to like reach out now from the show. So it's like, it's not just a show to make money, to do this, do that. It's to actually help people. And I really hope most people can take away from the show.
I was saying early on that it should be required for high schools to show it in the curriculum. I would understand if, like, people were like, no, I don't want to see it because I've been through something like that, and they got out of watching it for some reason, because, as you said, like, you never know what, like, people who are actually going through what Hannah's going through and have had those scares, or maybe, like,
those thoughts.
And for the people who feel like the show shouldn't be on, it's like, well, what would that help? How do you go about it then?
Yeah. You know, it's something that happens, and you know, I think because the suicide scene specifically, there's no holding glamorous back
at all.
And it was very, very difficult to watch, and I just like commended the show so much, because in the first time I watched it, I was like, oh my God, this is so important. And when you guys shot the show and you got cast and everything, did you have any idea that it was going to be this important, be this big of a deal to people?
I don't think we didn't think less, we didn't think more. We just thought, like, yo, people really need to watch this. It's going to be so good. But I definitely don't think any of us really thought it would be, like, wow, like one of the top shows. So I think everyone, like, even when we're all together, we're like, guys, this is great. Like, we all, like, even at the table reads, we would be like have to breathe after some of the content, and we knew it would be it could be a hit or a miss, but I think it was worth it. And obviously it's a big show, and it's a big hit for people, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
I think the show really brings the light that it needs to depression, to suicide, to self-mutilation, to slut shaming, bullying. Like, these are important topics that we really, really need to be having conversations about, and it shouldn't be something that should be swept.
This is how school is. People are evil.
It is.
People are evil. Like,
high school is really bad. It's like that. So I think
middle school's worse. I think middle school and high school, like, those are the most.
Yeah, middle school was brutal too. I remember in high school, I went to an all-girls school, which was even more brutal. And my guidance counselor was my saving grace. I was in my guidance counselor's office almost every single day.
I was gonna say, I wonder if there's guidance counselors out there who have watched this show, or like teachers who are like, oh, maybe I've been Mr. Porter at like one point or another,
I'm sure.
and haven't helped, because that to me is one of the most important episodes for as far as like signs and helping out someone who has the thoughts that Hannah.
Absolutely. And just as far as fans, have you gained more of a following? Like, what is the craziest?
She just had her first big party going on.
Sorry.
The one meal.
Yeah, there is a lot, so much support. And I think even when we go out now, it's just like pictures. Hey, can I take a picture?
Yeah.
And you have so many people that's like, yo, your show saved my life, So it's a really big show, and I've had so many people come up to me and just like, thank you, It's amazing.
That must feel so good to be part of something that was fun. It's helping your career tremendously, and it's really helping people.
Yeah, for sure.
What were you going to say, Becca?
Well, I was going to say also, was it Brandon or Timothy who a couple weeks ago were saying that social media-wise it's helped, like, they now have a platform
I think it was
to
Brandon.
be talking about this important stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's most important to them, social media-wise.
What I find it interesting, though, when people are like, I seriously read an article, some schools were telling parents, encouraging their kids not to watch the show. And I think, what you were saying last week, something about fear. And I think fear of the unknown is really scary for people. And and I understand fear in the sense, but I'm also like, if you never get over fear, it's just going to keep being a thing.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why the show is so important. It forces you to have a conversation, because something has to.
Yeah, and we also had a short discussion last week with the production designer who really told us some really cool stuff about the set and different paintings that were, you know what I mean? And I've also seen articles, like BuzzFeed, Pop Sugar articles, breaking down small little, like, Easter eggs that are just in the set. They're on the walls or, you know, the bedrooms, all of that. So there's just a lot going on. And I'm a rewind girl. I love rewatching things. But I really, it's so, everyone thinks I'm weird. And
I don't think you're weird. I just love it.
I'm that little kid
watch things.
that's like, hey, can I watch this movie today 5 times, Mom? Like, you know, read me the book again. Read me the book again. I love doing that. This show, it has been hard.
Yeah.
To do that, but I have like the earlier episodes. I think are obviously
12 and 13 are hard.
Yeah,
The 9 to 13 are the harder.
What's that?
9 to 13 are harder.
Yes, 9 to 13
Towards
are
the end,
definitely
it
harder.
gets really.
So, did you watch it like all the way through once it came out? Did you see it before? Or
No,
I know that
watched
some
it.
people didn't even watch it really that were in the cast.
Yeah, I actually did. I watched it the first 2 episodes. We had a premiere, so the first 2-3 episodes, and then one day I watched it with my friend, and yeah, we watched the whole thing. So.
Do you go on Facebook and like see articles and stuff posted about it constantly, and you're like, hey?
I rarely go on Facebook, but social media wise,
Yeah.
yes, it's everywhere. You know, it's like the trending thing. It's like just even the memes and what is it, a GIF or GIF?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the
like,
memes. There's so many of those memes.
Yeah.
There's like even one of the memes about the whole color
well,
scheme
the
of the
blue-
show, which
yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah,
to
all
me.
of that. There's a lot going on.
Yep.
I also want to make sure we talk like more about you specifically,
Yep.
your other projects. I was telling you before the show when you came in, and I was watching it. I was, who is this? I'm trying to put my finger on it, and I realized you're Young Cookie from Empire, which is really cool. I mean, and you basically just have a role whenever they need you there,
Right.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
They can just call you back at any time.
Yeah, the schedule was so crazy for me this year because I was doing 2 films, or last year when we were filming, I was doing 13 Reasons and Empire, so the scheduling was crazy. I was flying from Chicago to San Francisco, and I was actually doing a film in Atlanta, and so I was flying to Atlanta and Kentucky, and so I was like really just so yeah, that was really crazy.
Do you have anything else coming up besides 13 Reasons Why, or that's going to be released soon?
I sing, so I'm also working on some music actually, and hopefully I'm going to try to drop a single within the next few months, and I'm working on that right now, and then do a full EP together. And I also have 2 films that's going to come out this year. The one I did with Tyler Perry, Acrimony, and Family Blood. It's going to come out late summer, I would say.
Cool.
Like
Nice.
So those 2.
I'm jealous.
You know what?
I love Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah.
She was going to say something.
She knew it because like seriously, if I was going to work with him, I think he's fantastic and just an amazing creative person. And the things that he can just make and come out with, and you're just like, dude, like how do you do it, and how do you? Because his schedule is ridiculous, especially when he does like Have and Have Nots. That's a soap opera filming schedule.
Yeah, he films really fast. I think we shot that movie in probably a week, which
Wow.
is crazy.
Wow,
Maybe
that's
less.
crazy.
We were
Dang.
still doing other stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna make this work." And so we just, I don't know. That was my first time. I was like, "How are we gonna shoot all of these scenes?" And he made it work.
Fast paced.
Yeah.
You know what would be really interesting, or really great, actually, that I'm going to pitch right now, is if you record a song for the show. For 13 Reasons Why.
For sure,
For the second
yeah.
season.
That would be really cool, yeah. It'd be fun to tie
I've
that
actually
in.
been thinking about that lately too.
Yeah, because we were talking about how the album for this season is incredible. All
incredible.
the emotions.
Yeah, really fantastic. Do you guys have any other burning questions, or do the fans have any questions in the chat?
If you need a stand-in,
That's not a question.
Definitely not a question.
you said comment. Okay,
Okay, go ahead. I'm just messing with you, Chae.
I'll keep that in mind.
I just really like what Renji says in the chat all the
I know
time.
that was my
Yeah.
favorite. Life is a road
Life
that
is a road.
divided by choices.
Yeah, I just really love that he said that.
And you
then
agree with me.
real
Thank you,
is-
Renji.
Also, real is much scarier than fiction. He always has like
He's like
wise comments
he's
in
like
the
a
chat.
Yoda, but just like a very helpful Yoda.
Helpful Yoda,
You're a
not
helpful Yoda,
unhelpful.
Renji. You're not unhelpful. We appreciate you.
the opposite of Tony.
I still think that he was helpful. I know.
I do too.
Tony?
Yes. What was he gonna do? What was
Listen
he
to the
gonna
Clapes
do?
Tay. I said Clapes Tay.
Clapes Tay.
Clapes Tay.
Listen to the Clapes Tay.
Listen to Clapes Tay.
I feel like he was helpful, but it's also like I'm with Clay. You're an unhelpful Yoda. Like at that point, like you could just he definitely could. We didn't have to climb a mountain. You could have just told me this on the ground. Like there are ways you didn't have to do it. I'm just saying.
So dramatic though. You need the drama.
That's
true.
Effect.
Because we were talking about it earlier, Renji said Sherry or Sky would be a good match for Clay, and who do you think in season 2 would be a better match?
For Clay.
Obviously, Sherry. I think Sherry and Clay could really hit it off.
I think they
I
could.
do too.
I think they did, and when he finds out that she did the right thing, that maybe things will turn around. But I will say they did leave us with that last moment with Sky, which I think was obviously purposeful.
Yeah.
But now I want to, now that we know Sherry did the right thing, I want to get to see her, have some happiness, have some success.
Not get in huge trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, so I have a random question. Were there any scenes that you shot that were really dark and serious, but like someone messed up and started laughing? Because I'm sure that happens. You don't need to tell me like what scene, but it's people laugh all the time during, because it's like, oh, I flubbed my line. Bleh.
Yeah, especially with me, I'm such a goofy person, but it's just like, because we have a relationship on and off the set, like I say, so we will be talking about something that's just like, how you have those moments and it's like, all right, guys, stop, we have to do it. And then in the thing, it just, you're thinking about it, you're just like laughing, and the director's like, come on, let's get it.
Why are you smiling? You're like, sorry, he just sent me a really funny
definitely have a lot of
text.
those moments, especially with me too, because I'm a really goofy person sometimes. So.
That's, you gotta have
Yeah.
But usually I'm really good at snapping, like when it's time, I can do it really good and then kind of snap back out of it. So
that's what actors do, right?
I've been told if I were ever on a set that I would mess up all the things because I'd be laughing all the time.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot better, but
sometimes.
Now we'll send you into a spiral. Okay, so any other final questions? And then, we don't... did we do predictions for next season last week?
We did like
I
a little
would
bit.
love to do that.
Predictions. Let's do that.
Let's get into some predictions
wanna hear
for
it.
next
you
season.
guys, let me hear your...
Now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
How cute is that?
A lot of flashing lights.
Yes. All right. Do you want to go first?
Have you all gotten a script for next season yet? At all?
Not yet, but we've heard some things.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to say anything. You guys tell me your predictions.
Okay. All right. So I'll start. I obviously think that Alex could be in a coma, and it could be like his narrative, maybe. That's like watching everyone around him while he's kind of like in this other state, because I do think they're using some kind of device that's not tapes but something similar is what I've heard.
Ooh.
I don't know what else they could use, and this all might just be like fake news. I'll just say it's my prediction that they're going to be using some other
That's really cool.
kind of device to do that. And with Tyler, man, I like. The thing is that they set it up with all those pictures that like it's a hit list essentially. So I don't see them. Maybe this story will continue with Tyler. He'll still be alive, and I don't know. There, a school shooting obviously is what comes to mind first, and that maybe each person is targeted differently. So that's how I feel. And with
interesting.
And with Sherry's character, I think that like we need someone else that we can trust and that we can like, I think, as an audience. So I really hope that Sherry becomes that for us, because she is finally done the right thing.
Yeah.
I hope Justin becomes that for us as well.
Yeah.
Because he needs some redemption going on. Even though I don't think he can redeem himself quite yet off the bat, just for holding the truth back from Jessica for that long, and basically... Like, if he had told her way sooner, she would be in a better state than she is right now.
Absolutely. What about you, Shea Butter?
Shea Butter.
No, seriously, that's how I did it. One of my friends calls me that. Like, that's how he'll like yell it like when I walks in the room. So it's just, I find it awesome. Definitely a school shooting, because that hit list is important. It's not there for no reason. I feel like if there is a school shooting, I kind of want like Clay, like maybe just see something about to happen to Sherry, and he kind of jumps in front of her, tries to talk Tyler down. If it works, we'll see.
My superhero.
Yeah, because I think Clay is like a little superhero. Like his whole he's coming into his own.
Oh yeah.
In the sense of that. I don't know who I want to narrate for the next season. I'm going to be happy with whoever they choose. I want Courtney to come out, little girl, because you was killing my vibes. Cause like seriously, like that, like she just keeps wanting to blame him. I'm like, stop trying to blame the dead person. It's not her fault.
Yeah,
it's not. I would actually like whole Alex coma. I think that would be really wickedly cool.
Yeah,
to just see how that will play out. Redemption for Justin, definitely. I think Jessica is going to have an uphill battle for season 2 as a person.
Yeah.
And I really cannot wait to see that evolution of Jessica in season 2.
I saw something this morning that season 2 might be centered around Jessica, but I'm not sure.
Centered around Jessica?
Yeah.
I read so many different things, but obviously, like, Catherine Langford's going to be in it again, so I'm not sure how that's going to come into play. I know she's not narrating it, but I still hope that she's, like, a central character, which means there is going to be a lot of flashbacks. So, we'll see, you guys. Let us know in the comments, tweet at us what you guys think for next season, and if you get any scoop, fun tidbits, news, articles, tweet them at us, because we are dying to know. So thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. One more time, where can everyone find you on social media?
Ajiona Alexus, that's Ajiona, Alexus, Alexus, and that's for all of my social media.
Awesome.
Chae.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm Chae Jones. You can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram, and Love Chae Butter on Snapchat.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV, and check out Young and Hungry after show tonight at 7.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at samdavidsonentertainment.com, Twitter and Instagram at samd43. And I'm going to be covering Twin Peaks on Showtime, which it was referenced in the show kind of a couple times as far as tone. The production designer mentioned that. So we're going to be taping on Sundays. This week we're taping at 10. Normally we'll be taping at 8. So thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for a great season, and we will see you next year.
Bye, guys. You can find me on the Carmichael Show starting next week. Just adding.
We do this thing where we say...
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.